Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? And welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Glad to be with you all. And I have some guests with me on this edition, two individuals that I know really, really well. I want to introduce you all to my brothers, Sam and Emmanuel Jones. Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, how you doing tonight?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I'm ready to talk about these Saints, but I gotta let everybody know in the Who That Nation, you know, we not just some fly by night Saints fans. Am I correct? I mean, we yeah, we done had some dark days in the Jones household watching the Saints game, right?
Yes, sir.
We're collectively going to put our knowledge together, and we're going to break down the Week 17 matchup, the Carolina Panthers against the New Orleans Saints. But first, we had some breaking news. This is according to NFL Network that tight end Benjamin Watson will be retiring after this season. Now, Benjamin Watson is 38 years old. He has played 15 seasons in the National Football League. He played for the Patriots. He played for the Browns. He played for the Saints. He left the Saints to the Baltimore Ravens and back to the Saints. So I'm going to start with you, Sam. What do you think about Benjamin Watson, and what kind of career do you think that he had?
Great all-around player, great all-around person. Benjamin Watson has had a stellar career, especially down in New Orleans. He was pretty productive during his Patriot days, but when he brought it back home to the Saints, I think that's where he really just started to find his niche. And, you know, you could actually see him produce and come into the player that he is now. Outstanding individual, both on and off the field. And it would be a pain to see him go.
Yeah, absolutely. He has an outstanding career, man, but even though he's a great football player, he's an even greater human being. Emmanuel, I got to ask you also, what do you think about Benjamin Watson and the announcement of him retiring from the National Football League?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the league 15 years, like my bro said. He was pretty productive. I think he was even more productive off the field. I mean, he did a lot of community things, NFL Man of the Year.
Right.
You know, a few times. I must be really getting old because I actually remember watching him in college at Georgia. So watching him getting drafted.
Yeah.
So that's real crazy in 2004.
Absolutely.
But I think the Saints really gonna miss him. But I just found out, you know, he has 9 kids, so he has a family of 9 soon to be. So he already has a full-time job. So he needed a full-time job going to another. So we wish him the best of luck, though.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great player, great human being is Benjamin Watson. So we here at the State of the Saints podcast, we wish him the best of luck, you know, in his future, man, because I know his future is bright. He's going to continue to do some great things off the field. But let's go ahead and talk about this Week 17 matchup, the New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers. Now, last week, the Saints, they wrapped up home field advantage, the #1 seed in NFC. And right now, the New Orleans Saints, a lot of people think that they have absolutely nothing to play for. So going into Week 17, the question is who is going to play in the game, who's not going to play. One person in particular everybody is watching is Drew Brees. Drew Brees, a lot of people are probably saying to themselves, that's a no-brainer. Drew Brees shouldn't play in this game. But Drew Brees right now is 8 yards away from breaking Peyton Manning's record for most 4,000-yard seasons by any other quarterback. So I'm going to start with you, Emmanuel. What do you think about Drew Brees playing in this Week 17 game to get that record? Do you think that it matters? And do you think that he should try to go out there and get it?
That's probably going to depend on Sean Payton. In the grand scheme of things, I mean, the Saints are playing for something much more than a record. So if he didn't get it, I mean, I doubt if he'll lose sleep about it. Knowing the kind of person Drew Brees is. So, you know, if he go out there and throw a pass and it's complete for 10 yards, I'll get him out the game. But if he don't play, I mean, I wouldn't shed no tears about it.
Right.
I mean, my thing is, if he plays, get him out of there, make sure he's you know, healthy. And if anybody else who starts, get them out of there, make sure they're healthy too. But I don't think he needs to play. He had nothing to prove.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, what do you think about Drew Brees playing in this game?
I think Drew Brees absolutely will start this game. I don't think the 4,000-yard season is as important to Drew Brees as it is to the Saints organization and their momentum them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that they know that they have the home field advantage. They have the #1 seed, so they can kind of relax a little bit. But you
Yeah.
also don't want Drew to get rusty. He's kind of up in age.
Yeah.
He's a great quarterback, but at the same time, you want to keep those young guys ready and on their toes.
Yeah.
I think that by Michael Thomas, what is he going to? He's going to break the single season receiving record, isn't he? That Joe Horn set back in the day.
Yeah.
It's a possibility, and with Drew Brees, able to break that 4,000-yard mark again, I think they'll go for it, and then afterwards, sit Drew down and get him ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that they're going to go ahead and go for it. And you hit the nail on the head about the importance of Drew Brees breaking his record for the Saints organization. But you do have some critics out there. They say that Drew Brees past stats, which I don't understand. Because I had a conversation with a gentleman, and we was talking about Drew Brees' patent stats. He says that Drew Brees is the ultimate stat patter. I mean, I don't understand this because for years the New Orleans Saints defense has been absolutely terrible. So for the most part, they always been down in games. So of course Drew Brees is going to throw the football in order to get the team back in it. Me personally, I think that he needs to go for the record. Why not? I mean, it's just 8 yards. Now, if it was like 208, I say nah, don't even try. But 8 yards, that's nothing but a first down. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing. And I think, like you said, go ahead and sit him down because I think you talked about the future because I want to see what Teddy Bridgewater has to offer. Now, the media did talk to Teddy Bridgewater this week, and he talked about how he always constantly stays ready because he never knows when he's going to get into the game. Do you all think that Teddy Bridgewater is the future of the New Orleans Saints? Do you just feel like they just got him for, I guess, like support, as a quality backup? Or do you think that the Saints really take him serious as being the future of the franchise? I'm going to start with you, Sam.
Touch on that last comment you made.
Uh-huh.
I think it would be foolish for anybody to think that Drew Brees would pad stats because, like I said, stats are stats for that reason. If everybody could be great, then they'll have the same number.
Oh, yeah,
if you
man.
have a mark in excellence and you've earned that right, then I don't think that you've done anything wrong, especially something that important as a quarterback.
Right.
I mean, that 4,000 yards, that's incredible.
Yep.
But back to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater, he's questionable for me, but I don't forget Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, no. You're not gonna speed past this. Questionable? Okay, man. Now you gotta explain yourself. What is questionable about Teddy Bridgewater?
Well, I mean, he was, like I said, he showed us glimpses of his greatness out there in Minnesota, what he was capable of.
Right.
That injury bug, it kind of leaves a question for me. Can he stay healthy? Can that guy be a franchise quarterback? And that's what my most important question with Teddy Bridgewater. We all know what he can do with his legs. We all know that he has a good, powerful arm. He has a cannon. But, can he stay healthy? That's the most important question. Can that guy be a franchise guy? And that it kind of makes me nervous. Is that the future of our franchise?
Yeah, well, I always want to say that, you have anything to be nervous about because if we want to go that route, we can say the same thing about Drew Brees, right? I mean, Drew Brees was looked at as damaged good, correct, coming out of San Diego. He had to get reconstructive surgery by James Andrews. His rotator cuff was messed up. Man, look, people don't realize how good Teddy Bridgewater is. So I would just want to say this, and then I want to get Emmanuel's perspective on this. Teddy Bridgewater, coming out of Louisville, he was supposed to be the first overall pick in that draft. The only reason why he wasn't was because he had a bad pro day. I mean, everybody was talking about how the Texans was going to pick him first overall. It was between him and Johnny Manziel, which is basically laughable at this point. This guy has always been good, man. The guy, he's not one of those guys like he's not a dynamic runner like how you see Lamar Jackson doing. But he's a guy who can scramble in the pocket. I mean, yeah, he can scramble outside the pocket, and he can throw the ball downfield. He's always been a good quality quarterback, and he makes good decisions. He doesn't turn the ball over at an alarming rate. And I think that he can be the future of this franchise. And you can tell, like, in the locker room, people like him and they respect him. So I really think that he would be a good fit. And I don't think that the Saints would give up a 5th-round pick for a guy that just is going to stick around for a season. Now, be that as it may, if he becomes a free agent and teams are just trying to throw him the money, you know, I mean, by all means, let him go. But if he decides to stay there because you talk to him and say, we want you to be the next, you know, the next quarterback of the team, I say that they need to try to do that. But, E, let me ask you about Teddy Bridgewater. What do you think about him possibly being Drew Brees' successor?
Nah, I agree with both of y'all. Teddy Bridgewater do have a history of injury. I mean, that would make anybody, you know, I guess afraid to maybe take a chance on him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I do think what Minnesota was, the offense they was doing when he was there, and the offense the Saints are doing now. I mean, I think he can get into that and do a good job. I'm thinking this offensive line is a lot better than what he had in Minnesota.
Right.
I mean, usually people don't sneeze on Drew Brees.
Oh, no.
I mean, he's always sacked under at least
Right.
15 or maybe 20 times a season.
Right.
And I mean, I think he can have some success in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think that he can, you know, whether he's a good, maybe long-term 5 years down the line quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that remains to be seen. But I do know if somebody offers him a big contract and he has this opportunity after Drew Brees retires, honestly, I think he'll stay here.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
This is potentially a Super Bowl team. You take Drew Brees away, I still think they're going to be a good team.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of what he can do and what he can bring.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Like I said, I like Teddy Bridgewater, man. And I would love to see him get a second chance because I don't feel like Minnesota did him right. You know, I think they looked at him as damaged goods, and they just let him walk out of the door, man. And if the New York Jets preseason that he had is any indication of the type of quarterback that he is going to be, I think that the Saints have a diamond in the rough. But let's go ahead and talk about this Week 17 game, the Carolina Panthers and the Saints. Now, we talked about the Saints resting players because they don't have anything to play for. But let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. Now, Cam Newton, he was shut down last week. Of course, we know about him injuring his shoulder, and he was playing through the pain. Got a lot of respect for Cam Newton when it comes to that regard. But last week, Taylor Heineke started the game, and he went down. Now, he's placed on IR, and in comes Kyle Allen. Now, Kyle Allen, he is a rookie out of Houston. He started his college career at Texas A&M, and he was actually benched for a quarterback by the name of Kyler Murray. Y'all probably heard of him, Heisman Trophy winner. But he ended up transferred from Texas A&M to the University of Houston, and you know he got picked up by the Carolina Panthers a couple weeks ago, and now he is going to start in this game against the New Orleans Saints. So my question to both of you is, who do you think is going to win this game between the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints, and why? And I'll start with you, Sam. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I actually think that the Carolina Panthers will go ahead and take this game. The reason why, like I said, Saints don't really have anything to play for at this point. I mean, we're already, you know, sitting at the top of the NFC South, as well as the NFC. We have the #1 seed, home field advantage. What else can you want in the season? What else can you ask for from a team at this point? I think you'll do more harm than good by, you know, putting those starters up there and risk them having an injury where it can really count later on down the line. So I think, you know, we'll probably see a little bit of those starters, you know, those key players that we actually want to see, you know, probably I'm guessing maybe late into the first quarter, maybe early into the second. And after that, I think that, you know, it'd be a Teddy Bridgewater show.
Okay, yeah. So what's your score? You got a score for me?
I don't think this is going to be a high scoring affair. I think that maybe, you know, we're looking at maybe Carolina 32, you know, Saints maybe 24 or something like that.
You said I had a high score affair.
Well, you know, it's not going to be, you know, I don't think it's going to be a 60-point, you know, overall game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see the Saints putting up 30 points in this game, you know, but Carolina does have something to play for, you know, by the Saints so many times.
Right.
You know, like I said, it was swept last season. You know, in this season, it looks like, you know, it's bound to repeat itself. So, you know, they definitely have something more to play for, you know, and I mean, it's just, you know, they need that for their city. Does. So, you know, I think that they will, you know, go ahead and take it home. Okay,
man, that sounds good. What about you, E? What do you think about this game?
Man, my bro said Carolina gonna score 32 points. Man, no, it's deep. I don't see it.
I don't. Hey, but to each his own. To each his own.
Well, Oh man, I don't know. First of all, let me get this out the way. We state the obvious. Anytime I hear about Heineken, I think about Heineken, the beer. That can't be just me.
Yeah, that don't sound half bad right now.
Anybody else get thinking about? But I don't know. This game, I was looking at the injury list. I see Armstead, he's hurt. I see Ramczyk, like he's hurt. So the Saints got like 7, 8 different people on their injury list.
Right.
I don't know if this is like a precaution because they're not going to play on this Sunday. But I still think they're going to beat the Carolina. I still think they're going to beat Carolina because I think their roster is deeper and better. And I actually seen Kyle Allen play in college. So that's why I have the Saints winning. I think the Saints will win this game 16-14 or something like that because I think Bridgewater come in and he'll move the team. I think he might even see Taysom Hill play a little quarterback.
Okay.
So, but I think Carolina, the defense is proud, but the offense, I mean, they don't have an offense.
Yeah.
They can put a Heineken in the game or Allen, it don't matter. I mean, they just don't have an offense pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this is what I think about this game right here. I think that Sam has some interesting points, especially the Carolina Panthers being swept last year and all that stuff about Cam Jordan sending Cam Newton a bottle of wine and a broom allegedly. I do think that they have something to play for, but I don't think they're going to win this game. Now, if Cam Newton was playing, then I'd say, okay, they're going to win this game. But I don't see any way that the Carolina Panthers are going to win this game unless, like, Teddy Bridgewater comes in and throw, like, 4 interceptions and he throw 2 pick sixes. I don't see this happening, man. I mean, Kyle Allen, man. I don't know if you ever seen this guy play. In college, you say you seen him play, E. But this guy, I mean, this guy isn't a world beater or nothing like that. I mean, he's not going to wow you. He'll throw you a pick or 2, maybe 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? So the way I look at it is this. The New Orleans Saints want all the momentum in the world going into the postseason. And people are saying that the Saints don't have anything to play for. Yes, they do. Because with this win, they'll have more wins than any other team in franchise history, man. 14-2 will be the greatest record the New Orleans Saints team has ever had. The most they ever been is 13-3. So why not make history? Drew Brees can make history with 4,000 yards. You said Michael Thomas can make history passing Joe Horn. Why not the Saints make history as a team going 14-2, being the best team that ever been assembled, period, by the New Orleans Saints organization? So I do think that the Saints are going to win this game. Yeah, I think Carolina is going to play them tough. Of course, this is a division game, so when you're playing in a division, people know each other's tendencies. Don't think it's going to be high scoring. I will give it 20-17. A Will Lutz late field goal is going to get this game over with for the New Orleans Saints, and they will go 14-2 and marching into the postseason. But this has been a State of the Saints podcast. I want to thank my brother Sam and Emmanuel for taking a part in this edition. Thank you two very much for taking the time out to be a part of the show. Thank you very much.
Who that?
Yeah. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. And like always, all I have to say is, who that?